My name is Yaqut Zaman, and this is Saturday. I didn't do it last week. I didn't do any Saturday live stream last week. So I thought to myself, I'll do it this week. And unfortunately, I'm not at home. So that's why the background is a bit different today. I'm actually at Unity FM Studios, and we're here for a charity appeal. We're basically collecting for homeless in Birmingham. And we do this every year, once a year. We do a collection so that we can help provide food for homeless in our area. And yeah, that's it basically. So I know the scene, the nice lights are not there as I normally have, but inshallah, I'm going to try to answer your questions today as much as I can. The Curious Cat for some reason is not working. Allah Alam, don't know what's wrong with it. So I'm going to have to answer your questions that are here. I don't think I'll be on for very long because I'm not too sure how long this is going to last for. And by the time I get back home from here, it's going to take about half an hour or so, and then I don't want to kind of make it too long. So I just thought to myself, you know what? I'll just try to answer some of your questions. So if you have any questions and you guys want me to answer your questions, then put the questions here. Hopefully, inshallah, the questions should come up on the screen. So I do apologize. Last week I couldn't come on. I was actually not well last week. I think I had a stomach bug or something going around, and it wasn't anything to do with COVID or anything. But I was unwell, and then I thought to myself, you know what? I find it difficult to be able to sit up, and that's it basically. So what's the latest with you guys? And yesterday, I do apologize. Yesterday I didn't come on live for the normal Friday live that we usually have. That was because yesterday I had Juma, and then I had to travel all the way because the students had a student dinner, student party, and then by the time I finished from that, getting back home was going to be a mission, so I wasn't able to do it, and I was just too tired to. And that's it. Oh yeah, and the Arabic podcasts are going to be back in January, inshallah ta'ala. So they're going to be back in January. Just one thing, if you guys are not familiar, today, the 18th of December, is actually World Arabic Day. Okay, so it's World Arabic Day. If you guys don't know what World Arabic Day is, don't worry about it. But it's just something which normally happens once a year. They kind of have this World Arabic Day where they encourage people to learn about Arabic and language, just like they have World, all these other days. And as Muslims, our Quran is in Arabic, and it just kind of makes sense for us to be able to learn Arabic at least. And I've made loads of videos for you guys on my YouTube channel to help you guys learn Arabic. So there isn't much excuse for you guys out there. Wa alaikum assalam, Zed Milor, ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan, welcome, mashallah. Put that comment up there. Ahlan wa sahlan, welcome. So as I said, guys, if you guys have just joined, I'm not in my normal place. I'm at a radio station. Today we have a live appeal for collecting for homeless, and that's it basically. I can actually, let's see, have I got the link? Maybe I've got the link that I can send you. If any of you guys want to donate to the homeless, all proceeds go to the homeless. 100% goes to feeding the homeless and helping them, providing for them. Wa alaikum assalam, Boxing MMA, ahlan wa sahlan, welcome, mashallah. I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying yourself, enjoying London's. I heard London has a big issue with the Omicron. The Omicron. I'll learn how to say it properly. The Omicron. Yeah. So London's got a big issue with it, big problem. Unity FM, yes, on Unity FM. Yeah, alhamdulillah, on Unity FM. And I was on just a little while ago. I had a break, so I thought, you know what, I'll do a little live. I'll do something live for you guys, because next week there won't be any live stream next week. Not because it's Christmas, but because just just have a little holiday. No, for the homeless, for all homeless, Muslim, non-Muslim, for everyone. Yeah, all the homeless. The problem is when people think about homeless in the UK, they think the government provides for them. The issue is the government doesn't provide for all of them, because there's a lot of people that fall through the cracks. So there isn't like a robust system that anyone who is homeless immediately gets support. Doesn't work like that. There'll be like weeks, maybe months, where someone won't be able to get any support because they have to kind of like prove that they're homeless. They have to prove who they are. And there's so many kind of things associated. So a lot of people don't know exactly how the homeless people, or what they call the rough sleepers as well, find it difficult to be able to get any support. So what Surah tries to do is they're trying to get them in contact with the council. They try to see what kind of opportunities they have to get living facilities, and especially those who have families or homeless and kids. There's kids there as well. Wa alaikum assalam, Jundullah, ahlan wa sahlan, welcome guys. Is my sound working properly? Can you guys hear? Is it clear enough? Are the Americans there? Americans, hope you guys are well, enjoying yourselves. Yeah, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaban. So as I was saying, this is today I am not at my normal workstation at home. I am at a radio station because we are doing an appeal for the homeless, and I won't be able to get back in time, home in time, to be able to do the live stream for you guys. So, I'm a kind guy. As you guys know, I'm a kind guy. This scene looks nice, doesn't it? What do you guys think? Should I get something like this in my background? I can get these. You can get these ones that have these kind of like little glowing lights in the back. Have you seen those? They have like a neon kind of lights, and they look quite nice. Yeah, so I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I might have something like that. I'll see. Maybe I might need to next year do the room up a bit. Maybe change a bit of the lights. Wa alaikum assalam, Abir. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. Yes, I was saying quality is not as good as the room. Yeah, unfortunately, quality isn't as good. I do apologize, Sal. Yeah, I know the internet isn't really the best here. What do you think about Saudi big banning? No salam, no nothing. FIFA, bhai. What's this? Nobody on Muslim. What do you think about Saudi banning Tablighi Jamaat? I don't know. I mean, it's a political thing, and political reasons. There's lots of countries that do ban, but the way Saudi is going at the moment with their festivals and with all the the concerts that they do, I wouldn't be surprised that they start banning, cracking down on so-called conservative organizations. Yeah, so may Allah make it easy. Is the word hudan in the Quran? In Surah, is the word huda in Surah Imran ayah 3 hal? I have no idea, because I need to see the verse, and on my phone I can't bring up the verse. So if you have the verse, maybe there I can probably see it. Rona, ahla wa sahlan. If the Prophet ﷺ has advised us on something, does that mean Allah has advised us as well? It depends what kind of advice is. Is it something to do with something which is specific to the religion, or is it just some general advice? It all depends. If it's something which is something to do with the religion, the wahi, revelation, then yes, it's, obedience to the Prophet is obedience to Allah. Ahmed, Assalamu alaikum. As a student, did you find any particular method of taking notes? I was a bit strange as a student, because what I used to do was I used to memorize stuff in class, and it's a bit strange. I used to make some notes sometimes, but I used to kind of like memorize a lot of stuff. Yeah, so I was like a big time memorizer, and then later on I'd write my notes up. I don't advise that for everyone, because it can give you a bit of a headache. But it all depends on your ability to be able to memorize. Is it true that animals can see a human and know whether he or she is going to hell or heaven? I've never come across any of that. Allah knows best. Min qablu hudan linnas. I need to know what's before it. So you can copy and paste the verse, the full verse. So I'm not a hafiz, so I'll need to know. Can you give us some insight on how and why Surah Duha was revealed? Surah Duha, basically what happened is that in Mecca, this is Surah which is revealed in Mecca, there were people going around saying that the Prophet ﷺ has been abandoned by Allah. So revelation sometimes would stop for weeks or days. And some people kind of thought, you know what, right, the Prophet ﷺ, God has left him, right? And that's one of the opening sort of like verses where Allah says, "Ma wadda'aka rabbuka ma qala." Some of the Mufassirin mentioned that this is about Jamil. Jamil used to, who was the wife of Abu Lahab, go around saying things like, your Lord has left you, your Lord is angry with you, right? Forget your mission. Okay. I just hope I'm not missing out anyone's. Can't see. So Sufyan, Salam. Does the word Mawla mean free slave? It can mean, yes. So Mawla can mean free slave. It can mean master. It can mean friend. There's like multiple meanings this word can have. What's the difference between? What's Islamic perspective on people with bank accounts that are not connected to Islamic banks? It all depends. Are they incurring interest or not? If they're incurring interest, they're not allowed. If feeling unwell during tahajjud, can I just make dua without salat? Yes, inshallah. Why not? Why not? Is there any limit to how many rakats you can pray before fajr? No, no limit. Pray as much as you like. So from the Prophet ﷺ, it's been reported 2 rakats, 4 rakats, 6, 8. This is beside the witr, obviously. And Mullah Shabir Ahmad Osmani in Fath al-Mulhim has actually counted up to 19 rakats, including the witr, that have been recorded on some occasions. Can we say that later scholar had more knowledge about Islam than Sahabi? Not necessarily, because it all depends on what you mean by knowledge. Yeah, it all depends on what you mean by knowledge. So basically, knowledge does not mean how much. If knowledge means how much information you have, then obviously the person that comes later is going to be learning more piece of information. Yeah, like Arabic grammar and things. Sahaba did not know the rules of Arabic grammar. Like they didn't have the terms, the names, anything like that. So that kind of definition of knowledge is wrong. What I would say the definition of Islamic knowledge is how well did they understand the Quran. So the Sahaba's knowledge of understanding the Quran was at the highest level. This was basically the highest level because they had direct access to the Prophet ﷺ. They saw the revelation. They knew the Arabic language at the highest level. So this is why their understanding of what Allah wanted was at the highest peak. Now everyone that comes after is learning Islam second hand, third hand, like that. So the later people would have more knowledge of little small details of piece of information related to that science, but they had, you understand? So imagine like this. Imagine it, let's say, making a cake, for example. So imagine the Sahaba knew exactly the best cake to make, and then everyone that comes after them learns about that particular cake and how it's supposed to be made, and then all the little detailed information. Okay, difference in meaning between kasaba, amla, sana'a. Yeah, so kasaba means to do an action where you're kind of earning something, like something, you're getting something out of it. Kasab. And amila, it means an action where there's an intention involved. Any action that's intention. Sana'a is usually kind of an action which is like there's kind of like detail involved in it. Sani'. And fi'l is just any sort of like movement, any sort of action that you do, whether it's intentional or unintentional, you call it fi'l. Yeah, so, for example, like if you say fa'ala Zayd, it means he just done something. If you say amila Zayd, he means he did something with intention. If you say sana'a Zayd, it means he kind of like did an action and produced something, something in detail. Kasaba means like to do an action where you get something in return. Wallah. Any plans over Christmas period? I'm just gonna meet relatives, friends. I've got like a few weddings to go to and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to organize some of my courses as well. Hopefully, try to get that out of the way. So I'll be off the live streams and just focusing more on trying to organize maybe things around the channel as well. I've heard music and concerts are happening. So is this a sign Allah knows best. Allah knows best. It's a sign. Maybe it seems as though it's a sign. I read about one rakat as witr. Is it allowed? Do we need to proceed with even rakats? According to Hanafis, one rakat is not allowed. There's no specific hadith of the Prophet ﷺ allowed one rakat. That's what the Hanafis say. Other madhabs do allow one rakat, but Hanafis don't. So there has to be, Hanafis say, 3 rakats. So Abu Umar, Assalamu alaikum. Can you recommend any companies for Umrah travel? The one that I've been with, Sabil Travel is quite good. Sabil Travel, Sabeel Travel. If you Google them, give my name as well. Maybe they'll give you a discount. I don't know. Tell them that, I referred you to them. New location, yeah. So today's new location, guys. Basically, I couldn't make it home. I'm at a radio station appeal for the homeless today. We're collecting money for the homeless in our area, and so I won't be able to make it back in time home. And so I thought to myself, you know what? I'll just do answering here. Although I know the sound isn't the best and the image quality isn't the best as well. Do apologize. Is finding bread on the way and kissing it bid'ah in Islam? If you believe it to be part of Islam to pick up bread and kiss it, then obviously it's innovation. If you don't believe it to be bid'ah, just do it just because that's your kind of practice, then it's okay. How to perform Salat Al-Tawba? You just pray 2 rakats of nafal with the intention to ask Allah forgiveness. That's it. What's a bequest and what's the important? A bequest is a will basically. So before you die, you kind of make out a will of all the money you owe people and how you want your money distributed. That's basically the idea of a bequest. So let's say, for example, I'm going to die and I write down in my will, you know what, I want £100 to go towards an orphanage. All right, so that would be counted as a bequest. أنا من اليمن وين تعلمت اللغة العربية ما شاء الله أنت تتكلم اللغة جدا ما شاء الله أنا تعلمت اللغة العربية في باكستان كنت درست هناك 9 سنوات ما شاء الله والآن أنا رجعت مقيم في بريطانيا وأدرس اللغة العربية أيضا أهلا وسهلا مرحبا شكرا. What's a shibhul jumla? Shibhul jumla basically is a sentence or a phrase that is made up of a jar majroor or a zarf. So for example, if I say Zaid fi al-bayt, so fi al-bayt, this is called a shibh al-jumla. It's like resembles a full jumla, but it's not a full jumla. And that's called a shibh al-jumla. And a full jumla is a jumla which has a mubtada khabar or has a fi'l fa'il in there. Is cashback halal? All depends on the terms and conditions. Randomly, assalamu alaikum, ahlan wa sahlan. How are you? Different background looks. You're not home? Yeah, I'm not home today. Yeah, not home today. How are you randomly? Everything good? Okay. Jazakallah khair, Abu Ameen. Ameen, Jazakallah khair, Abu Umar. MashaAllah. That commented there. Ahmad R. Ahlan wa sahlan. What is Insan al-Ma a reference to in Hanafi fiqh books? Insan, basically, the Hanafis, when they discuss the creatures of the sea, they kind of come out with a lot of theoretical creatures. So because in the olden days, there wasn't really kind of much scientific understanding of creatures. There wasn't many studies that were done. So a lot of rumors were spreading around what lives in the sea. It's a very unknown territory. So lots of rumors spread that there's humans that live in the water, like aquatic humans, including mermaids and other sort of like creatures. So this is why when people used to ask Hanafis this question, they didn't really know the science behind it because that's the best that the science of those days provided. So this is why they said if there are some sort of like humans that live in the sea, then this would be their ruling. And hence, in today's science, we know that there is no such creatures that live in the sea. So therefore, we know that that question was really based upon assumption. Yeah, it was based upon assumption of that. Okay, so next. Hassan, alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan. How are you, Hassan? Are you good? Everything well? Is life insurance permissible? No. Unless there's specific conditions, then I would suggest you speak to a scholar about your situation. If you travel more than 77 kilometers and stay in the house of your parents for vacation, are you still a musafir when you arrive at Israel? So basically, is that your permanent residence? If your parents' house is your permanent residence, then you will have to pray full. If it's not your permanent residence and you're just going to stay there for 15 days or less, then you pray qasr. Is watching magic tricks for entertainment permissible? Yes, as long as it's not going to affect your belief. So the ayat of Surah Duha were revealed in a specific situation. Is the meaning of the ayat restricted to that? No. So in usul, there's a principle which is that when a revelation is sent down a specific scenario, its meaning is general to all Muslims. Right? So it might be the mawrid al-khas, lakin tatbiquhu am, so its application is am. Right, so this is like a general thing. So you'll probably read in some tafsirs, they might say, Surah Abu Lahab was revealed regarding Abu Lahab, but it doesn't necessarily mean this applies only to Abu Lahab. It applies to all those Abu Lahabs in history or until the day of judgment. Hal is to do with the state of the doer. Mutlaq is to do with the state of the action. So hal basically is to do with it's like the sifa of a fi'l. So if you have a sifa of an ism, you call it sifa, a na'at. So for example, let's say akaltu khubzan ladhidan. Ladhid is a wasf, is a na'at of khubz. But if I say akaltu khubzan jalisan, I ate bread sitting. Sitting is describing the fi'l. If you describe the fi'l, you call it hal. If you describe the ism, you call it sifa, wasf. Does lying kick one out of the fold of Islam? No, not necessarily. Why is interest haram in Islam? What are the impacts? Read the Quran. So I would say seriously, read the Quran. I'm not saying this just to kind of like brush away. You have to read what the Quran says. The Quran talks about riba, and equates riba to actually, declaring war against Allah and His Messenger. That's what riba is basically. It's just like feeding off the vulnerable, making money from money. Is trading like gambling? Cause because you're either gaining or losing money. It all depends on what kind of trading it is. If it's virtual trading, as in the sense that you're not really gaining any asset, you're not buying an asset. You're just like spot trading. You're just buying sort of like the virtual meaning of the share. Then that's not allowed. Otherwise, if you're buying the asset, you're becoming owner of the asset, then it's allowed. Would nikah be valid over Zoom if the groom and bride are in separate places? Many of the Hanafis say no, it's not allowed. Some Hanafis do allow it, as long as you can 100% guarantee that these are the two individuals. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair. Inside my razai. I need a razai, bro. I need a razai. What is the difference between gharar and maysir? So gharar basically means excessive what do you call it? My mind now. Uncertainty, excessive uncertainty. If you have basically, the rule with regards to trade is that if you have excessive uncertainty in a trade, that trade is not allowed, right? So for example, like, if you have, let's say, for example, I'm going to pay money, you're going to give me a ball, I'm going to throw that ball. If it falls in the bucket, I get the doll, and if it doesn't fall in the bucket, I don't get the doll. That's excessive uncertainty. Same with insurance, car insurance, and house insurance. Maysir is literally gambling, where you put money on a bet, right? And that's gambling. So it's slightly different. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, Hassan. Sheikh, recommendation for a beginner tafsir book in Arabic that I can read back and front fairly short amount of time. I would suggest something like, if you read something like Safat al-Tafasir, Safat al-Tafasir is very easy to read, very nice. Tafsir Ibn Juzay is like very nice and short to read, I would say. Yeah, those are like easy kind of tafsirs to kind of go by. Is taking a regular shower the same as ghusl, a specific process? Yes, as long as you wash the whole body is fine. Umar Yusuf, alaikum assalam. Is eating one's fill makruh tanzih tahrimi? I mean, generally it's considered to be tanzihi unless it's going to harm your body. If it's physically going to harm your body, then it's makruh tahrimi. Yeah. If a person has a credit card and pays the bill on time, resulting in the prevention of interest, is halal? Yes. Dark Saber, ahlan wa sahlan. In al-kalam, who do they refer to when they say Sahibul Umda? Sahibul Umda. I'm not sure, you know. I don't know. It depends which book it is. I'm not too sure. If you give me the book name, I can maybe look it up. Assalamu alaikum, ahlan wa sahlan, Masir Ali, alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. Assalamu alaikum, Abu Khalil. Assalamu alaikum. Someone applied for a job as an administrator in a warehouse that sells alcohol. Then he found out that the owners are Muslim. Is it okay to work there? So what's the exact nature of the job? That's the thing. If you could tell me the exact nature, what kind of job is it? What kind of, do they only sell alcohol? Is there anything else in that company? And what's the role of admin? Like exactly. How do you pray with shoes, especially at the part where you sit down? Yeah, it depends what shoes you got. Yeah, so as long as your shoes can bend, you can pray in them. Khair Academy, wa alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. You seem tired, how are you? Yeah, it's a bit cold today, so my arthritis is playing up today. Alhamdulillah. Good observation, Masir. MashaAllah. HK, how do we understand the hadith about the wife being cursed until the morning if she refuses to have intercourse? Yeah, so these kind of hadith are not general hadith that apply to all women. It's a specific scenario, specific situation where a woman is clearly being disobedient to the husband, not to all women that can't have sexual intercourse with their husbands. And I think these kind of a hadith, this is where people sort of like have a misunderstanding when they read a hadith and they don't read what the ulama say about this hadith. Yeah, and I totally am against general public getting access to hadith because a lot of hadith just cause more doubt because they were never meant to be heard by everyone. It's like a private conversation taking place between people, and then the whole world hears it, and everyone starts commenting. Just like you imagine you put one of your private conversations up on social media, and everyone heard that conversation, but they didn't hear the whole thing. They just heard a snippet. That's what happens with hadith studies. If a companion is recorded as having disciplined his child by hitting, but the Prophet ﷺ never hit any child, what will it be? So it simply just means the Prophet ﷺ's own personal preference was different than everyone else's. The Prophet ﷺ sometimes he would refuse to eat certain types of food, even though he allowed his companions to eat that kind of food. And likewise, the Prophet ﷺ, he preferred to do things in a certain way, even though he allowed certain Sahaba to maybe do certain things in a certain way. So when we say, for example, the Prophet never hit a child, the Prophet ﷺ never struck anyone in battle according to the authentic narrations. He never struck anyone in battle. But that doesn't mean that it's wrong to strike someone in battle. When it comes to the breaking of wudu, I've read the line وَسَبَبْ يَجْمَعْ مُتَفَرِّقْ in relation to throwing up. Can you explain? Yeah, so sabab, so basically what they say is this is ikhtilaf between Abu Yusuf and Muhammad, where they say that the cause, like for example, if the person vomits has nausea, then Imam Abu Yusuf considers the place where that occurred. So if the place where a person had small little bits of coming up multiple times in the same room, then you put them together, you count it as one big vomit. And Imam Muhammad says, no, you look at the cause. What was the cause for it? Was it the same cause? So if a person in this room, let's say, for example, smelled some food and it smelled really bad and felt like vomited a bit, then it went outside and smelled that same food again, vomited a bit, and then went further down, smelled it. So the cause is one. So that's what he says, yajma'. Could you mention what Bahar, the poem, is for your Diwan Shafi video? Yeah, that actually would be a good idea. Yeah, I can actually possibly do that. When did the Prophet ﷺ first see Jibril in his true form? They say 3 years after the first revelation. That's what they say. 3 years after the first revelation. Well, there are other reports as well. 6 months after and others, but I think from my knowledge. How do we know the hadiths are preserved? You need to do my Usul Hadith course, Rona. Nabil, Umar, do animals have free will? According to the scholars, they say no. The company sells halal and haram items equally. He will be working. Yeah, then there'd be scope to work in that place. If a woman is in her period, is she excused from her 5 daily prayers? Yes. Sheikh, I have small meme page where I post Muslim related memes. Sometimes I get comments like the memes are mockery of deen and even kufr. Well, that'd never be my intention. Auzubillah. Is the word al-maghdub a naib fa'il in Fatiha? So we call it ism maf'ul. Yeah. Ism maf'ul is it kind of like works like a naib fa'il, but it's the ism version. Yeah. So like mashroob, sharib is the fa'il. Mashroob is the what we call the ism maf'ul. Alladhi shuriba. Yeah, alladhi shuriba. So in that sense, yes. Does the 24-hour masa over leather socks start after one broke wudu? Yes. So check out my kuduri video that I explained in there. Randomly, can you please briefly tell what should be kept in mind? I mean, I'm kind of against memes generally, that anything related to religion. That's my own personal thing on it. Because what tends to happen is if people start this trend, they might know the limits, but people who are watching it think that this is an open license to start making any type of meme. That's my own personal thing. So I don't like kind of getting involved in these Islamic memes, or that's my own personal. But generally, the rule basically is anything which is a direct mockery of religion, absolutely is haram, and even may even be borderline kufr or even kufr. But if it's something which is just coincidentally deen related, but if you were to take deen away, that could have been said about any other organization or thing like that, then it would be permissible. So let's say, for example, like there's a particular issue with regards to a person that wears, I don't know, a certain type of clothing, yeah, and coincidentally some Muslims in the world also wear that kind of clothing, and someone was to, then there'd be scope there. Okay, next one. Ahmed, we use sabab al-nuzul to determine the timeline of ayat. Is there a way to determine timeline regarding hadith? They try to do that, but they find it very difficult. Yeah. So in hadith, you have what's called sabab al-wurud. So that there's some books, like there's a book called Al-Bayanu wa Ta'rif fi, I think so, Bayanu wa Ta'rif fi sabab al-wurud al-hadith. Something like that. 3-volume one. But yeah, it's extremely difficult in hadith. Do you ever get tired of answering the same questions? Yeah, I do, but some people do. Rona asks a lot of just random questions. From the time you break your wudu. Yes, from the time you break your wudu. What should I have done before studying the Jalalain? Cover the entire Quran so that you can translate it correctly. That's what I would say. At least do that. Okay. Abir, is the word mubiq and maw'il in Surah Kahf a dharf? Mawbiq or mawbiq? Yeah, ism dharf. So maw'il ala ya'ulu ma ya'ulu ilayhi المكان الذي يؤول إليه شيء, and موبق المكان أو الزمان الذي يعني هلك فيه شيء. Can one weep over someone's death even though died as a disbeliever? Yes. Do you have lessons on YouTube about the rulings of nikah and talaq? I don't have it on my YouTube, but I do have it on my rook.com on Kuduri there. Is it permissible to fold your clothes during prayer at all? I think this was a dispute on this. Yes, it's permissible. How do I say the letter ضاد? I find it hard to use the side of the tongue. هذا الحرف صعب جدا. كيف أتقن حرف الضاد? Generally, they say there's 2 ways you can say. You either like push your tongue. Imagine this is your tongue. You push your tongue between the top of the teeth. Even I find it difficult. Or you just do it one side. You just push one side of the top of the teeth. But the scholars say that for ajam it's fine. It's not really kind of a big problem. Whatever is easy. Khair Academy. Someone was saying our Prophet ﷺ used to scream in his khutbah. Apparently, there's a hadith with proof of screaming. Hence why Dawah screams. Yes, a narration that would say that when the Prophet ﷺ would give a talk, he would raise his voice like a leader of an army would raise his voice. Yeah, but all depends what you mean by screaming. So, I mean, to me, it doesn't sound as though he would scream but he would obviously shout, raise his voice quite loud. Sorry, Sheikh, does it mean that the owner are Muslims? Doesn't it mean he will support Muslim in haram? Not necessarily. I mean, generally the rule basically is that if you are doing a job which is a generic job, which is not necessarily specifically dealing with haram, then there's scope to work in that. Just like, for example, if it's working in Asda, working at a till, something like that. So even if the Muslims own it or not, it doesn't really matter. If you feel, I would say, anything you feel uncomfortable in doing, do not do it. That's the rule. If your heart tells you, look, this feels wrong, do not do it at all. But when you ask me that from the Islamic point of view, the fatwa on that, that's what I would say. Why has there been difference in opinions? Surah revealed second. Yeah, because people. Sallam. Has the sound gone? Can you guys hear the sound? Second. Yeah, can you guys hear? Okay, so the sound is going to change a bit because my earphones have died. So basically, that's the thing. People were not recording when the verses were being revealed. They were just writing the verses down, and because they were living in a time, they kind of knew these verses. Is there a way to do Quran tarjuma on your own? I would avoid it. Always do it with a teacher. Yeah. Alia wa alaikum assalam. So is it allowed to take a weak opinion in rulings, for example, for a sheikh to tell a woman who just got home because they can stay with their non-mahram Muslim husband? It all depends, possibly, but it all depends on the situation, what the exact situation is. Birmingham is blue. If a Muslim person owns a takeaway and has a halal sign on the window, can we just take? That's what I do. As long as I don't see like anything bad from them, then I'll eat there. So taking a weak opinion or telling people a weak opinion because people's iman is not strong enough to save them from leaving deen, possibly. All depends. I wouldn't say that's a general rule, but it can possibly be taken by a mufti. Yeah. I was thinking on the way that we study and the levels of books you study. So I was thinking when you will reach Hadd al-Iqtisad of one subject, Hadd al-Iqtisad, what's that? Why do we study books in the subject? How does that? I don't understand Hadd al-Iqtisad. What do you mean by that? Help us, please, Allah. What's the benefit? I don't understand your question, Masir. Okay, I live in London. Do I pray Qasr in Heathrow since I would have started my journey by then, or only after? Yeah, so some scholars say that if you're going to go on a journey, you can start in the airport because the airport is like leaving the, you can say, limits of the city in a way. Okay, and Muhammad Salam, a woman becomes Muslim. Her family is strictly Hindu. She wants to marry a Muslim man to save her from haram, but cannot move in with him until a couple of years. Can they do nikah? Yes, possibly. I would say tell her to explain her situation to a scholar, and then they can look at that. Yeah, but yeah, potentially it's possible. What is a mufti? Is someone who has trained in being able to answer questions. Okay, guys, I might have to finish it off there. My phone battery is okay, but I'm gonna have to go back on the air for the show. So I'm collecting money today for the homeless in the UK. So what we do, where I work at Sufa, we actually help the homeless people, try to find them housing with the council. We try to provide food for them. We try to provide support for them. So we do this on a daily basis. All right. So for that, obviously, funds are needed. So what we do is once a year, we come on the radio and we appeal to all the people in Birmingham to see if we can get enough funds. So today we've been collecting, alhamdulillah. And I have been on the air since a bit earlier, since about 8 o'clock. So if any one of you guys wants, you can email. I can actually leave the link for you guys to collect or to send donations, inshallah. And inshallah you guys can support. Yeah, because as Muslims, this is something that we should be doing, helping people. And just because we're living in a developed country doesn't mean there's no homeless people or We think the government's going to support them. The government doesn't always help people, right? Because there's so many problems. You'll be shocked to see how many Muslims there are, in poverty in the UK. Okay, let's just see this question. If I buy something with khiyar online and the time period is 3 days, does the 3 days start when the purchase occurs? Yes. Yeah, the khiyar starts basically, when you receive the item. Yeah, when you receive the item, 3 days. What is the difference between al-fatir and al-khaliq? Fatir means the one who created something from ex nihilo. Yeah, from scratch, from nothing. Yeah, or fatarahu, like brought it into existence. And it doesn't have to be ex nihilo. Al-khaliq means that creates something from something else. Tasawwur wa tasweer. Okay, let's take this one. If a person wants to marry someone but their parents don't approve of it, does that mean they can never marry? No, they can find someone else. You're welcome. We can't draw pictures. Can we sell pictures or hire people to make iron pictures? No. If you can't draw them, then you can't sell them. You're welcome, Mr. Sahab. Jazakallah khair, Jazakallah khair. Food products that have Jewish writing on them, can we say they are halal? I don't know. Don't think so. You got to find out if they are. It's because they have Arab Jewish writing doesn't mean they're halal. What if I sell something like a lunch bag with pictures? Main purpose of item isn't the picture, but then it's possible. Yeah, as long as the main primary reason is not that, it's fine. Right, guys. Okay, guys. So take care, inshallah. I will finish it there, and inshallah, I will see you guys next time. I'm gonna go back online to the radio. That is not online with you guys. And next week there will not be a live stream, right? And hopefully, the week after. Right, so the week after, hopefully, I'm going to have my evolution of fiqh. So make sure I'll put up the details for that on my social media. I'm going to be doing evolution of fiqh over 2 days. So make sure you guys register for that. It's going to be a very interesting course, inshallah. I'll be covering what a madhab is about, how do madhabs develop, how does fiqh develop, and all those kind of things that people generally have questions about when they're asking about madhabs and fiqh and all that kind of stuff. I'll be covering all that, inshallah. It's going to be a live course. So it's going to be on the 1st and the 2nd of January, inshallah. And I'll put the details up soon. All right, guys. So take care. Have a wonderful days. And next week, I won't be putting up any of the normal videos. I'll be on holiday, chilling out, doing my own stuff. And then I'll see you guys after that. So I hope you guys miss me. On a joke. I hope you guys have a wonderful time. Enjoy yourselves. And we'll see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.